Welcome back to the Bill Yohnka Show, here live from the Farmers Market in downtown Kankakee. And as we do every week, we do our radio drama. It's the only radio drama set in a farmer's market, performed live in the farmer's market that we know of. I know there are hundreds of listeners out there waiting with bated breath, which is slightly better than Dorito breath, for our own original soap opera to air as the Clod turns, the story of love among the vegetables at the farmer's market. If you care at all, let us listen. Hey, I ain't got to be paid more if I'm going to read stuff like that. Anyway, we now join Lois Little, part-time librarian and Ovaltine drinker, as she stands in front of the booth operated by Colt Remington, Beaverville truck farmer and FFA dropout. Colt is saying,
and that's why I don't eat sushi.
Very interesting, Colt. We must discuss tofu sometime.
Oh, don't get me started.
Pardon me.
It's Bill Yohnka, manager of the Kankakee Farmers Market.
Well, I hate to ask you to do this, Lois, but I need someone to interview the Mayor of Chebanse.
Why aren't you doing it?
I have to drain the lizard.
I know what you mean.
No, you don't. It's a giant inflatable lizard over there. It's filled with water to make a pool for little kids, and they have to take it back now, so I have to drain it.
Oh.
Why don't you have Uncle Paul do it?
Well, he has to see a man about a horse, but that's another long explanation I don't have time for. Here he is now, Lois. This is the Mayor of Chebanse, Eldon Dubuque. Here's the mic. And just wing it. I'll be right back.
So, Mr. Mayor, tell us about your town.
Well, Chebanse was founded by French and German farmers in 1854. It sits on the prairie about 10 miles south of Kankakee on Interstate 57.
And how far from Kankakee is it?
It's about 10 miles south on Interstate 57.
And how would we get there?
Oh, you could take 57 south. You know, Chebanse was once home to cartoonist Charles Lamb, who drew Little Orphan Annie.
It seems to me I recall something about a cartoonist living there for a time.
That would be Charles Lamb.
No, that's not it. I think it was Dan Patch.
No, Dan Patch was the famous trotter who lived on a farm outside Chebanse.
So if we wanted to take the kids to see Dan Patch, how would we get there?
Dan Patch has been dead for a long time, and the farm is no longer there, so you would be wasting your time to drive south and look for them.
South, right?
Yes.
Well, I see they're giving me a signal of some kind, so thank you, Mr. Lamb, for being here, and if we're ever in Dubuque, we will look you up.
Okay.
Thank you, Kankakee radio players.
Very
Lois Little today, played by my mom, Carlene.
And that wasn't the real Mayor of Chebanse, by the way.
No, the real Mayor of
He
Chebanse
doesn't listen, so.
But it sounded like him.
It did sound like
I
him.
tried to get the pace.
Sound like he hadn't had his Java coffee quite yet.
No.
Well, that was educational. You know, somebody not from the area like myself didn't know Dan Patch was from that
famous trotter.
Well, the other reason I recognize that name from The Music Man.
Oh,
in the musical The Music Man, he references Dan Patch as not sitting right on the horse, but Dan Patch, and so
sit right down on a horse like a jockey. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Do a few bars for us, Paul.
Dan Patch. That farm there's no sign of that.
No,
it's gone.
The ground is probably still there, though.
It's out by where Eddie Allen used to live.
Oh, out there.
I think that's gone too.
We had a picture of Dan Patch in our family, I think.
Is that right?
Yeah.
He drew a crowd. He kind of retired out there. I don't know if they put those horses to stud or did they just retire, but he was out there.
Oh, I think stud.
Do they?
So, for the benefit of everybody else, Dan Patch, famous racehorse.
Trotter.
Yes.
Trotter.
Trotter.
What's that mean compared to a racehorse?
Behind it. You have to run at a certain pace, you know.
They're different.
If they break the pace,
no jockey. There's a little cart behind them.
Okay.
A little two-wheel cart.
But there's a guy sitting in the cart.
Like harness
Not
races.
on top of the horse.
Right.
Yeah, harness race.
But
Dan Patch was about the early 1900s. He was famous. He set records that have been broken since, but it took quite a while.
Okay. Well, now everyone's up to speed.
Right. Well, go rent The Music Man this weekend, and then they'll mention Dan Patch in it.
And Charles Lamb, I believe, lived there with his grandparents for a while.
Well, let's think of the era the time frame of the Music Man. When was that supposed to be going on? Probably
Yeah.
the time of
That was
Dan
like
Patch.
late 1800s, early 1900s.
Early 19.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Charles Lamb was the cartoonist?
Yeah, he drew Little Orphan Annie, a girl with no eyeballs.
Oh,
Very
The
popular.
other people in the cartoon had eyeballs.
Yes, they did.
it's not her.
He never had eyeballs.
And did he take his cartooning from the poem Little Orphan Annie?
I think, was that written by the guy from Indiana?
No.
What's his name?
Charles Whitcomb Riley.
Yeah. The guy that did When the Frost is on the Pumpkin.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's where he got the idea. He was inspired by that, and then he drew it for years and moved away from Chebanse, of course, as cartoonists tend to do.
Yeah.
They drive him out of town sometimes with pitchforks.
On a rail
and stuff.
sometimes.
But he, and then Carl relates to musicals. We won't make any inferences from that. But, Annie.
The musical Annie, sure.
They're all based on Little Orphan Annie.
Oh.
Very good.
All out of
In,
Chebanse.
Broadway Musical Corner this morning on the Bill Yohnka Show.
There was some guy from England used to come there to hunt pheasants, too.
Some guy from England.
He'd be out of luck nowadays, too. Some prince or something.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's all in the book.
Well, speaking of things happening in musicals, High School Musical 2, the Young People's Theater performance, will be coming up next weekend at the Lincoln Cultural Center. So that show starts on Friday.
Had a little preview of that last week or the week before.
Do you still have tickets?
They should still have tickets.
But you better get them quick.
The KVTA website is the place to go for that, and you can find out all the information on show times and get tickets. But it's one weekend only at the Lincoln Cultural Center next weekend. Young
Cast of
People's Theater.
52, if I'm recalling.
Incredibly large cast.
Yeah.
They hope a lot of kids here.
55, wasn't it?
55, 52. If you get over 50, I can't
Yeah,
keep
you
it
get over
straight.
50, the stage is just full anyway.
We'll be right back after this. You're tuned in to Talk AM 1320 WKAN. Don't be fooled by what it might look like outside. It's nice,
Beautiful day.
comfortable weather out here, and
Fudge isn't melting. Fudge is not melting down there.
plenty of good stuff to be had and unmelted fudge. Here at the Farmers Market in downtown Kankakee, this is the Bill Yohnka Show, and we'll be right back.